Hi, welcome. This is your HMH lesson 7.7. Today we're going to be reading How to Make a Timeline. This is in your HMH books on page 50. So make sure you have your HMH books out on page 50 and you're following along with me. If you need a minute to go get that, you can go get that now. Okay, now that you're back and you have your HMH book, you will also need, we're going to complete the worksheet 193 power words and text organization today as well. We're not going to do that now. First, we're going to read the story, but I'm just letting you know that's what we're doing after we read. All right, so let's talk about it. How to make a timeline. How to do or make something when you read how to make a timeline. Notice directions for readers to follow, a list of materials needed for the project, the model or picture of what the final project will look like, and steps that show order. So we kind of talked about a timeline before when we were doing Dr. Martin Luther King's timeline together. Remember that? Yeah, so we talked about this before. So today we're going to really read in depth on how to really make one though, because before we just we cut out and glued the order of events that happened in his life in order of how they happened, right? So we're just going in depth with that today. As you read, stop and think. If you don't understand something, reread, ask yourself questions, use what you already know, and look for visual clues to help you understand. We have 4 power words today. I'm going to open that up. Actually, I already have it open. The first word is timeline. So there's a picture of a timeline here, telephones, I think, or communication. So it shows here in 1885, that's how the telephone used to look, and it shows you in order from smallest to largest, from a long time ago to the most present. So 1885, they used to use that kind of phone, and then in the 1920s, they upgraded a little bit. 1965, upgraded a little more. 1985, wow, that's a huge phone. And then 1990s, we had these phones, I remember. And then in the 2000s, looks like that. 2015, most of them are iPhones, and then they say that now that we'll have phones in our hands. Okay, so is that really true? No, but they're predicting that that's the next step. Anyway, so a timeline is a visual that shows events in the order that they happen. So remember when we did the timeline about Dr. Martin Luther King? We put the events that happened in his life in order in which they happened, right? That's a timeline. All right, let's move on. Statements. It looks like a whole bunch of newscast cameramen are getting a statement from this, I think he's a firefighter. His uniform looks like it. So statements are words or sentences that people said or wrote to share information. So when you say something or you write something, you're making a statement. You're sharing information. All right. The next one is arrange. A lot of times I ask you guys to rearrange your desks, right? To move your desks around. Arrange, if you arrange things, you put them in a certain order. So when we do ABC order, we arrange our words in alphabetical order. So to arrange means to put things in a certain order. And I think the last word was current. Here, there's a picture of somebody reading a newspaper. If something is current, it is happening in the present time. So this is currently happening. I bet you hear that sometimes. That means it's happening right now as we speak. Current. Okay, so that's our last word. Let's move on and read the story. Let's build background.
When you look at a timeline, it tells you a story. It can tell you about events in history or about important events in a person's life. A timeline has several parts. The title tells you who or what the timeline is about. The dates show you the order that the events happened. The text gives you details about each event and helps you understand why it is important. Some timelines also have pictures that tell more about the events too. How to make a timeline. by Boyd N. Gillen. Biography. A biography tells about the events in a real person's life. It takes time to read a full biography because it has many details and is full of stories. A biography takes time to read. The Life of John Hancock, 1737, January 23rd, born in Braintree, Massachusetts. 1754, graduated from Harvard College. 1775, May 24th, became President of Congress. 1776, July 4th, first person to sign Declaration of Independence. 1780, elected Governor of Massachusetts. Timeline. Another way to share information about a person's life is through a timeline. A timeline uses visuals and dates to show a sequence of events at a glance. Because of this, a timeline doesn't have a lot of words on it. You read a timeline from left to right, just like a sentence. Anyone can make a timeline. A person doesn't have to be famous or a grown-up. Everyone's life is filled with special events. A timeline gives a lot of information with just a quick glance.
All right. The author says a biography takes time to read. I'm not sure what he means by takes time. I reread the section again and see that the author mentions it twice. That must be important. I notice symbols next to the captions and ask myself, what do the symbols stand for? As I look closely, I see that the symbols are clocks. So I think the author uses the symbols to help readers understand how long it takes to do something. 5 alarm clocks must mean that it takes a very long time to read a biography. Then I notice some more symbols on page 53. Before the caption about a timeline, there is only 1 alarm clock shown. So I think it must take less time to get information from a timeline than it does to read a biography. So to read a biography, you're reading every single small detail in that person's life. But to read a timeline takes less time because it just gives you the most important parts of his life shortened, right? They both give you information, though, about that individual. That's a good point. All right, let's keep going.
Tremaine's timeline. Tremaine made a timeline of his life. Read the statements he wrote. What ideas can you get from Tremaine's timeline to make one about your own life? To make a timeline about your life, think about events from the past that are special to you. February 13th, 2012. Born in Dallas, Texas. 2016. Became a big brother. Spring 2018. Received an award from the library. Summer 2018. Started taking photography class. October 25th, 2018. Started taking trumpet lessons. 2019. Helped to plant a tree. For example, when were you born? What exciting things have happened to you? Have you won an award or learned a new skill? Write down the dates of important events in your life. If you need help thinking of events or dates, ask family members. You might even learn more about yourself. Let's get started.
All right. What does the author want you to learn by reading this part of the story? The author wants us to learn how to make a timeline about your life. What clues help you know this? The title of the story or this text is How to Make a Timeline. The author shows one boy's timeline and says, I can use it to get ideas about how to make my own. So, what questions do you still have about Tamar's timeline? Maybe, why did he include these events and what makes them special? Why did he include all these parts and why are they special to him? That's awesome. Okay, let's keep going.
Create your own. Look back at Tremaine's timeline. Use it as a model to create your own. 1. Write important events from your life on note cards. Put the date at the top of the card and write what happened at the bottom. Leave space for a picture. 2. Arrange all of your note cards in order. Put the earliest event on top and the most recent event on the bottom. 3. Add drawings or pictures to your note cards. You can use photographs if your parents say it is okay. 4. Add your note cards to a piece of string with clothespins or paper clips. Put the earliest event on the left and the most current one on the right. 5. Share your timeline with the class. It will be fun to tell your friends about yourself. Materials: colored note cards, markers, tape or glue, scissors, magazines or pictures, string, clothespins or paper clips.
Okay, so you are going to be making your own timeline. Now, remember I told you guys that before. So you are doing this at home. You can work on it today and on Monday if you'd like. I want you to bring it back on Tuesday. Now, his timeline, they use string and clothespins, paper clips, whatever, to hang the events in his life that are important. I know a lot of people don't have those things at home, and I don't want to make you go out and get them. So instead, if you just want to glue them in the order or tape them in the order on a piece of paper, that would be okay too. Okay? They do not have to be real life pictures like the timeline, his timeline, how he has real life pictures. I mean, if you do, that'd be great, but you don't really have to. You can draw. If you want, you can draw those important things that happened in your life, and then just write a small little caption on the bottom on what you drew. So like here, how he wrote a little caption on the bottom on what each picture represents. This is, he became a big brother. He was born in Dallas, you know? So you're making your own timeline. It shouldn't be something too hard, okay? Make sure you bring it back on Tuesday so you can present it to the class. Now, what you're going to do next is the power word. So let's talk about these together. You should arrange flowers on a plate. Yes or no? No, you arrange flowers in a vase, right? So you're going to click no, and you're going to circle no and write, you arrange flowers in a vase. 2, the current year begins with the number 2. Does the current year begin with the number 2? We are in the year 2020. Does that begin with a 2? Yes, it does. So you're going to circle yes. You don't have to write anything on the line. Number 3, you may answer questions with statements. Yes or no? Yes, you do answer questions with statements. Right? All right. 4, a timeline shows events in alphabetical order. Are they in alphabetical order? No. A timeline shows events in the order of which they happened, right? So were you born first, or did you go to trumpet class first? I was born first. So the events, it's in order in the events of what happened. All right, so that's that. That's pretty easy. I guess I'll help you with these questions. They're not too hard. It says informational texts have a type of text organization that fits the topic and the author's purpose. Authors use chronological order when they describe the order of the steps in a process. Clue words like first, then, next, and finally, and text features like numbers, steps, help readers follow the steps. Answer the questions how to make a timeline. What does the author want you to learn by reading this text? What clues help you know this? Okay, what does the author want us to learn here? The author wants us to learn how to make a timeline, right? How to make a timeline. And what clues help us know this? Well, it says it in there. The title of the text is How to Make a Timeline, and the author shows a timeline of the boys. And it says, I can use it to get ideas about how to make my own timeline. All right, so explain how the author organizes information about how to do the first step. How does the author organize the information? In chronological order, in the order in which they happen. How do I spell chronological order? It's right here. All right, the second question. How are the timeline, directions, and materials organized? They are divided into steps that are in chronological order. The materials are in a list. So see here how they put them, it says page 56. So let's go back to the story, page 56. See how the author puts these in chronological order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the answer would be they are divided into steps that are in chronological order. The materials are put in a list. They're in a list. All right, why did the author organize them like this? Maybe to make the directions a little more clear. This is what you do first, and then this, and then this, and then this. Okay, that's pretty much it. So you're going to do 194, 193, and then you're going to create your own timeline. Miss Yusuf, does this have to have every single detail in my life, like 6 events? I'm sorry, like 100 events? No. It can be like the example they gave you here. There's just about 6 important events in his life. You can do anywhere between 6 to 8 important events in your life. Okay? That's all you need. If you have any questions, let me know, and I will see you later. Bye, guys.